Welcome to another Timeflow tutorial. In this video, you'll learn how to use the new advanced preset system to speed up your animation and project workflow. Let's get started. To begin, make sure you have updated to the latest version of Timeflow in the Unity Package Manager. Advanced presets are only available in Timeflow version 1.8 or later. You'll also need to import the demo samples, which can be located also in the Package Manager under the Timeflow Animation System Samples. Be sure to import the demo samples matching the render pipeline you are using. For this video, we're using URP, though the presets work similarly with any render pipeline, just with some slight differences in material and component setups. Now that we have the latest assets, we can open up the Advanced Presets window from the menu or using the keyboard shortcut Ctrl-Alt-Shift-P. We can then dock this window somewhere easily accessible, such as here next to the Timeflow view. At the top of the view are drop-down menus to select the preset collection, folder, and group. The Timeflow demo samples include a standard collection of presets. Note that when there's only one collection in the project, the collection drop-down menu may be hidden, so you may only see two drop-down menus here. Each collection can contain unlimited numbers of folders, and those folders may contain any number of groups, and then each containing any number of presets. We can switch between a grid layout or a list layout, depending on your preference. In grid mode, we can click each icon tab to view the presets within the group. To view a single group at a time, you can click the solo button on the left here, which is essentially the same as selecting it from the dropdown. This provides a quick way to navigate and to focus on the presets you want to work with. To start adding presets to the scene, let's select the scene folder, which contains some demo samples, including a starter scene. With an empty scene open in Unity and no game object selected, we can simply click the starter scene button to instantiate it, indicated by the plus icon. In the hierarchy view, we can alt-click the foldout to expand all the items to see what's inside. This preset includes a basic scene template with a camera, post-processing volume, lighting, and a cube as a placeholder for the scene content. You can, of course, set up the scene however you wish. This is just an example to get you started. Also, as a side note, I am using Hierarchy Designer, which provides this nice enhanced hierarchy view and is available in the Unity Asset Store. At this point, you may be wondering where these objects are originally defined within the preset. If you right-click on the preset button, you'll see additional options, and we can choose to select the prefab. This highlights the prefab in the project view. We can then double-click the prefab to open it and inspect it further. This works just like any other prefab, however you'll notice that it has an advanced preset script attached to the root game object. This component stores the preset settings and is only used in the editor. As shown in the inspector, it cannot be edited here directly, but we can click the Edit button to view it in the Advanced Presets window. The view changes to a focused editing mode, which we can exit anytime by pressing the X. Though let's first have a quick look under the hood of what's happening here. As mentioned, presets are based on prefabs, so you'll see the full prefab hierarchy shown here as a list of objects and components. Here you can check the boxes for the relevant objects and components that you want included in the preset. Any boxes left unchecked mean those items are ignored and skipped when applying the preset. In the case of the starter scene, we want all of the items checked to be included. Though let's look at another preset for comparison. In the materials group, we can select one of the prefabs and again click the Edit button. In this case, only the Mesh Renderer component is selected, which means this is the only component transferred when the preset is applied. We can see this in action by selecting the cube object in the scene, and then apply this preset to it by pressing the Replace button. This replaces the Mesh Renderer component on the cube, effectively replacing the material while leaving everything else unaffected. Let's exit edit mode now by pressing the X in the upper right. With the cube object still selected, we can click on the other presets to apply them to see the effect. These are just a set of basic examples to demonstrate the preset capabilities, and hopefully gives you an idea of how this can benefit your own project workflow. When applying presets, there are several options which may be toggled by these icons in the menu bar. The R icon enables object renaming, When active, the selected object is renamed with the preset name, or we can turn it off to keep the current object name unchanged. Similarly, we can choose to apply object or track colors by toggling the paint bucket icon. If at any point you apply changes by accident, simply press Ctrl-Z to undo it. Clicking on the next icon, we can select the preset application mode. Instantiate creates a new instance of the prefab in the scene with optional prefab linking. Replace mode, as the name suggests, replaces the components on the target object with those in the preset. This is useful when you want to swap out one behavior or style for another. The next option is Combine mode, which attempts to merge the preset onto the selected game object. The behavior of combine and replace may vary from one component type to another based on whether the component allows multiple instances or not. In the case of applying materials, since there can only be one mesh renderer per object, combine and replace mode work much the same. Let's now switch over to view some of the animation presets. From the folders dropdown, we can select Animation. This contains groups of presets for the Timeflow animation behaviors, Keyframer, Motion Path, Tween, Flyby, and Blend. Let's select the Tween group. Before we apply any presets, let's just play the Timeflow view to see the existing animation. The cube already has a Tween component animating the local Y rotation. With Replace mode active, we can click on another Tween preset to apply it to the target object. For example, let's click Scale. Now when we hit play, we can see the object is scaling instead of rotating. If you want to apply both scale and rotation at the same time, this is where the Combine mode comes in handy. As a shortcut, rather than selecting from the menu, when clicking a preset button, you can hold one of the modifier keys to explicitly specify the mode. For example, hold the Control key to instantiate a new object, indicated by the plus icon. Or hold the Alt key for Replace mode, indicated by this red and white arrow icon. Or hold the Shift key for Combine mode, indicated by the crisscrossing arrows. While holding the Shift key, let's click Rotation X to apply it additively. This time, rather than replacing the existing Tween animation, it adds a new channel for the X rotation. We can play Timeflow to preview it so far with both animations applied. In addition to the advanced presets we've discussed thus far, Timeflow also includes a component preset system for configuring settings for a specific component type. Still viewing the Tween group, we can see the component presets listed below the advanced presets. The first group of these affect only the value ranges of Tween, indicated by their names. For example, we can select the local scale channel we applied in the previous step, and then click the button -1 to 1. This keeps the existing animation, but changes the value range of the Tween component. We can see this change in the inspector here, and we can play Timeflow to preview the animation. Once again, if you don't want your channel or object to be renamed when applying a preset, we can toggle that off here. And you could reset the channel name in the Timeflow view by right-clicking on it and selecting Reset Channel Name. The remaining component presets are variations on interpolation settings, and we can click on a few to preview them. Make sure that you select Replace mode or hold the Alt key, otherwise you'll keep adding new channels. Presets apply to the current selection, so we can select the other channel and apply a preset to that one. Or we can even select multiple channels to apply the preset to all selected. Another thing you can do is drag and drop presets into the editor windows, including the Timeflow view, Hierarchy view, Inspector, and the Scene view. As an example, let's go into the Scene presets where we have some demo assets to work with. Let's make sure the Scene view is active, and then we can click and drag the arrow ship and drop it directly into the view. This instantiates a new game object from the prefab with optional prefab linking. This setting can be changed by clicking the gear icon and finding the Unpack Prefabs checkbox. When enabled, instantiated presets will automatically be unlinked from the prefab. Or alternatively, when dragging and dropping a preset, you may hold the Shift key to invert the Unpack option. Unpack Prefabs is enabled by default, So we can drag and drop the preset again, this time holding the Shift key to maintain the linkage. Which option you choose simply depends on the particular situation and your workflow. When dragging and dropping into the Timeflow, Hierarchy, or Inspector views, the preset will either replace or combine with the object it is dragged onto. For example, we can drag this test character to replace the original cube object. Note that this takes into account the current application mode, and it may be altered on the fly by using the modifier keys. If we hold the Control key, it instantiates a new object, made a child of the object it is dropped onto. Or we can hold the Alt key to use Replace mode, effectively overriding the target objects in place. And lastly, we can hold the Shift key to use Combine mode, essentially merging the objects. Irrespective of the mode, anytime the object is dropped into an empty area, it instantiates a new object. And as mentioned previously, all of these drag and drop functions may be used in the inspector and hierarchy views also. Let's put all this knowledge together now and go through a typical workflow. First, we'll start with a clean slate and create a new empty scene. Then once again, let's navigate to the Timeflow presets and instantiate the starter scene. With renaming and track colors enabled, let's select the cube and replace it by dragging and dropping our arrow ship onto it. And then we can apply some animations. Though first, use the shortcut Ctrl-G to group the ship so that we can keep the animations separate from the objects. This is good practice to keep things well organized and easier to manage, plus it often works better to stack behaviors in a hierarchy rather than all in one object. Instead of going to the Docked Presets window this time, we can click the preset icon next to the object, which opens the Advanced Preset pop-up. Let's navigate to Animation Flyby. Make sure Replace mode is active and renaming is off, then simply click any one of the preset buttons to apply it. If you don't like the one applied, simply click on a different one until you find one you want to work with. This way you can quickly preview various options. These are only meant to be basic starting points, and of course you can create your own if there are setups you frequently use. We'll go over how to create your own custom presets a bit later. We can now close the pop-up and reposition the scene view to preview the full path. To make changes to the path, there are additional settings in the inspector, such as the velocity. Since the flyby behavior is maintaining a constant velocity, the size of the path overall necessarily must change as we change its speed. We won't go into depth here, but if you'd like to know more, be sure to check out the Flyby tutorial video linked in the description below. To give our ship a bit more life as it goes around, let's apply some banking. Under Automation, select Auto Bank. Let's once again select the arrow ship child object, and if both the Control and Alt key are held, it instantiates the preset on a new parent object. This is a handy shortcut to inject preset objects and behaviors directly into the hierarchy. Now that our ship has some animation, let's grab the main camera and add it to the Timeflow view. Then switch to the game view and preview the animation so far. For a simple camera animation, we can add the look at behavior with the default settings. And then let's make sure renaming is off, and then drag the Look at Target preset onto the arrow ship while holding the Shift key to apply it additively using Combine mode. Now our camera is following the ship as it loops around the path. In the inspector for the camera, we can tweak the position a bit so it doesn't intersect with the ship as it passes. For the final part of this tutorial, I'll show you how you can create your own presets. It's recommended that you create your own collection so that they remain separate from the demo presets. To do this, let's enable Edit mode in the Advanced Presets window by clicking the pencil icon. At the bottom of the view, click the New Collection button. This prompts you to save the collection somewhere in your assets directory. Let's create a new folder called My Presets, or whatever you'd like to name it, and then save it. The new collection automatically becomes selected in the Presets window, and it includes a default folder and group to start with. While still in edit mode, you can rename the folder and group, as well as selecting a color and icon for each. When you're done configuring these, click the gear icon to collapse the details. To create a new preset, as an example, we can add one of Unity's primitive objects, such as a cylinder. You may of course use any object you want and configure its components as needed. Then to create a preset from this object, simply drag and drop it into the designated area in the Advanced Presets window. This dialog is asking us whether we want to create a linked prefab or just create a preset and leave the original object unlinked. For this example, we can select Only Create Preset. Once again, you'll be prompted to save the asset, so let's save it into the folder we created earlier. You may of course use subfolders and organize the assets however you wish in your project. And now that the preset has been added, it is ready to configure. Here you can check the boxes for all of the options and components you want included in the preset. For more information on what each of the options does, refer to the tooltips and online documentation linked in the video description. To test the new preset, we can instantiate it, and now we have a new copy of the cylinder. If you have existing prefabs in your project, you can also easily add them in bulk to the presets window. Simply locate the folder of prefabs in the project view, then drag and drop the folder into the preset group you want to add them to. When prefabs are first added, you'll want to go through and double check the settings. Also note that prefabs can be assigned to multiple preset groups, though each prefab can only define one preset. If you wish to create variations, use the prefab system to create prefab variants. When you're done editing the collection, click the lock icon to exit edit mode and to hide all of the editing features. Your project prefabs are now available to use as presets and can also be instantiated as prefabs normally whenever you need. And that wraps up this tutorial on using the Advanced Preset system. Hopefully this supercharges your workflow and provides greater flexibility in your projects. Please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to be notified of future videos. You're also invited to join our growing Discord community for special access and support. Please be sure to check out the links in the video description for further resources. Your support is much appreciated, and thank you for being a Timeflow user. Happy animating, everybody.